But tonight, I just want to talk for a minute about some common matchmaking complaints that I hear. I find that a lot of people, and I've heard this from pro players, I've heard this from average, normal, everyday, casual players, but a lot of people hold these two ideas at the same time that cannot coexist. One is too many people make it to the higher ranks in Apex Legends. I heard, especially last season, a lot of people talked about how easy it was to get into Masters. And at the same time, so they want less people to make it into Masters, and at the same time, we want matchmaking to be faster. People want fewer players to hit the highest ranks, but they also want matchmaking to go more quickly. And here's the problem with that. Matchmaking can only go as quickly as the player base allows for. So the fewer players you're getting matchmade against, the slower your matchmaking is going to be. It's just logically you can't have both of those things. And kind of tangled into this as well is a lot of people don't want to be matched with higher level players. Like they want Masters to only play with Masters, maybe Diamonds. If I'm in Plat, I never want to see a Diamond or higher in my lobby. And it's just not possible for the sake of matchmaking. And to illustrate that, I just want to throw a few things up here. One, here are the average concurrent player counts. From this is back in March. The game's only gotten more popular since then. So we're gonna operate off of this old number. We're gonna say it's 120,000 players, average players. But you could easily say 130,000. I've seen people use that number. So here's the first thing you have to understand. This is the average number of players that are on at any given time. Now here's the other thing that you have to understand. Typically only 5 to 7% of players make it to the highest levels of Apex Legends. And so to give you that, here's how the second half of Season 8 broke down. Just under 18% made it into Bronze, stayed in Bronze. Just under 18% made it to Silver. Just under 32% made it to Gold. Just over 26% made it to Plat. Had just under 6% in Diamond, 5.86% in Diamond, and 0.4% made it to Masters or higher. And so let's just do the math on this, okay? If you want Masters players to only play Masters players, let's start with the most extreme scenario, right? So here's our calculator, right? We're gonna say 120,000 concurrent players at any given time. And on average, only 0.4% will be in that. So we're gonna multiply that by 0.004. And in that case, you would have 480 players at that rank. Only 480 at any given time. And if they're only allowed to play with each other, 60 players per match, so we divide that by 60, and that means that only 8 games could be going on at any given time. and so so it's going to take a while. You're going to have to be willing to wait really long if you want to be in those matches. So you could only have 8 games at any given time. So if you're in that rank and you're thinking, I only want to see Masters in my lobby, tough. Unless you want to sit and wait like 20, 30 minutes for a match. Like you're going to have to at least open the floor to some diamonds. But all right, let's assume that we keep all the diamonds together. All right, so we got our 120,000. So let's assume that's a whole group. So we got 6% of players reaching diamond and above. Times 0.06, 6%. So 7,200 players at that point. You got a 7,200 player pool at any given time. And understand that at certain points in the day, this number is going to lag. We divide that by 60 and have 120 matches going at any given time. That's why if you get up to Diamond, you wind up dropping in games. Like you start recognizing names because it really is a really small number of people that are getting into that. Now the disdain for this mixing of ranks kind of goes both ways. You get a lot of Plat players. I drop in Plat lobbies sometimes, and people are so disappointed when they see Diamond Masters in their lobbies. And typically on the lower side of Plat, you're not going to see a Masters, and higher, you're not going to see a Pred for sure. But sometimes you are going to see a Masters. You're definitely going to see a Diamond because At that point, all right, so you got 32%. So 120,000 times 0.32 equals, that gives you a nice number of 38,000 players. Dropped into groups of 60, you can have 640 games going at any given time. Like at any given time, you're playing Apex, like that's how low the number of matches at any given time could be if everybody's in a match at the same time, but that's not how it works out. That's why you've got to wait on matches. It's not a big number of games. And so, you could have 8 games at the highest level, 120 concurrent games at the, if you're diamond and up, and 640 if you include all of plat. So like I hope these numbers just help you to understand how low a percentage are hitting diamond and higher, and why you have to have some bleed through between the ranks in order for those highest level players to actually find matches. It's not realistic to reduce the number of players making it to those levels very much. These numbers have been fairly consistent throughout the entirety of ranked Apex. The highest it's ever made it to diamond was around 7% back in season 4, if I remember right. Usually it's 4 point something. This season it is up a little bit. Give you that 1% more made it to diamond. It's wild out here. But first, like, to understand this discussion, you kind of have to get this solid grasp of just the numbers we're dealing with. There aren't a lot of people in the higher ranks. Therefore, you either get match made with lower ranks, you have some mixing, or you wait forever for games. You cannot both limit the number of players getting to higher ranks and also speed up matchmaking. It's just mathematically impossible. And this is assuming that all the players are playing ranked games, right? We can take this even further because I'm willing to bet that half the players at any given time are playing pub matches. And so at that point, you just cut any of these numbers in half. You could have 4 games, 60 games, or 320 games. But you got to think about that as well. So those are the numbers. I love the game, and there are things I complain about. But this is one of the things I don't understand how people come after Apex on. Like, I think Apex does a great job with their matchmaking. I think it's very balanced. If you're under plat, you're never going to be in a... Except for some weird situations where things go wonky. Under plat, you're not going to see a diamond and higher player. Like, plat is that dividing line.